and the blog Soul Ma for Soul Mamas. And this is our new series, Lady Boss Mamas, that we're doing to talk to other moms who are also entrepreneurs and juggling mom life, kid life, and their business. So welcome.
And I'm Laura Katanen. I am in this with Molly, and I am a lifestyle blogger and also a sensory branding and marketing consultant here in Los Angeles. And I have a little one. He is 15 months. His name is Aiden, and I'm really excited to have our guest here today, Erin. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Erin Howard. I am the CEO and co-founder of Good Body, Good Mommy. We're a maternity brand hoping to focus mostly on activewear. And I co-founded it with Melissa Peard, who's a midwife. So we love to say that we're a mom-midwife combo. I have 3 kids, and my biggest baby just turned 5 yesterday. And then I have a 3-year-old and an almost 18-month-old.
Okay, so Erin, the first question. Well, first of all, how old is your business? When did you start
Our business, we started, I think, in 2014, but a few years we were really just in the concept phase. Both my partner and I are not from fashion, but I had 2 babies, and I ran marathons before I had kids, and I continued to work out during my pregnancy. But both times I could not find activewear that grew with me and that was supportive. And that also was like high end, like I was used to. I don't buy the most expensive running clothes, but I like Nike, I like Lululemon, I like Saucony, I like decent brands. But the stuff I would buy from some of the big name maternity stores, it was cheaply made. It wasn't the same. And it was not at all supportive. Finally, I met up with Melissa, who is a midwife and a friend of a friend, to talk about some things around working out when pregnant. And she had also been thinking about similar things, not necessarily starting an activewear brand, but how she could better help mothers as well. So the 2 of us teamed up. We thought of a range of products, one being a pair of pants with a built-in support belt. And the other we started to pursue first was a waterfall cardigan that turns into a nursing cover.
One of the themes of today was around our footprint and sustainability. And so Molly was talking yesterday about how she and you guys had talked about your manufacturing process being local. Do you want to tell us more about that? And did it have anything to do with, becoming a mom and this footprint and sustainability?
It didn't. Like, it was easiest for us to make it in the US, but also, like, as we move on, there's just so many less hands that are in it, right? And, getting things shipped from a foreign country, like, there's the planes and the trains that they have to take and the shipment. Is there something closer? So we were able to find a manufacturer in the Bronx who's making our stuff. It's very close to us. We can pick up things. They don't have to go on an airplane, the products to get to us. It does really make the lifestyle much more succinct. And I think that's really important, both as a mom and as a human being.
When you are a mom and you have a family and you're supporting the family and you have a small business, it does mean a lot to know that, like, most of the people I work with in my business are also moms who are small business owners, or like my manufacturer, I know his family. Like, it really makes you feel like you're doing something in a intentional way instead of just like, I'm in this to make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you mentioned something about cost, and a lot of people, their concern is with that, because at the end of the day, there's also like these big companies that control everything, and you end up having to push your margins and squeeze your margins and all of that. So what advice or tips would you give other women entrepreneurs who are trying to do this and want to have a good footprint, but are challenged with this, the margins and the retailers and all of this crazy stuff?
I think, first of all, don't undercut your product, right? Like, if you're making it in the US, you have to sell it for more. So you have to think about your marketing strategy and weaving that in. And, you also have to educate your consumer on the fact that it does cost more to make things in the US, and there's a reason why, but it also does create a smaller footprint, right? And it's a whole life cycle story that you have to talk about in your marketing materials to help people understand why you're charging more and to convince people that it's worth it. So I think that's part of it. You have to think about the whole marketing story and think about how you can weave that in.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I'm not going to lie. It's like our margins are not good. Like, I understand now why people make things overseas. And I hope that we can continue to do things in the US. I really do. So, think about how you're going to scale and talk to your manufacturer in the US also about, I would be very open with them. Find someone that you can have a good relationship with. Maybe your first run of products is 100, right? But talk to them like, could you do 10,000 when I grow? And how much could you get the cost down? And talk to them as a long-term customer, and maybe they'll be more willing to be more open about their process and how they could help you so that you can continue that made in the USA, but also the sustainability part, right? You can keep doing it more local.
I think that's a really good point for someone getting into manufacturing, because I talk to so many women who the manufacturing is the biggest headache, like finding that person and then making sure the numbers are right and it's going to work. But I like what you said about like the starting point doesn't have to be where you stay. So like when I started, the cost was really, really high because I was making small quantities. And then to find out, like looking big picture, can I grow this eventually, in a different way or increase my margins if I'm making more, like, which is the goal, obviously. So I think having those conversations with the manufacturers and asking the right questions when you're looking for someone is really important when you're starting.
I was at an investor event the other day, and the guy that runs a VC said something really clever. He said, a lot of business owners, small business owners, their biggest mistake is that they spend about 90% of their time on small decisions and about 10% of their time on what is really big decisions. And I would call the manufacturing process a big decision, and I don't think a lot of people spend enough time on it. Mm-hmm. I think that your point of being more strategic and talking to the potential person, vendor that's going to support you, and to make sure that they understand that you're in it for the long term and that your quantities that you expect, your 5-year goal is huge. That conversation is so key. And I don't think we spend a lot of time on those kind of conversations and dialogues, which really makes it feel like you're building a relationship here. So I love that. That's really clever.
Yeah, we're on our second manufacturer, and we had just like an unfortunate experience with the first one. So we found this other one through a website called Makers Row. If there's anyone in the fashion business who's looking to get into it, Makers Row is an amazing website that's super helpful to help you find manufacturing plants, facilities, and other trim and that kind of stuff if you need accessories. But so we found him through Makers Row, and he has really been amazing to us. Like, he's a straight shooter. We really trust him. He did an excellent job with really understanding our concept and our design. And when we have conversations about the future with him, he's like, I said to him once, I'm like, I hope we come back to do 1,000 more next time. And he said, I hope you come back to do 100,000 more. Like, I hope these things fly off the shelf for you. Like, he really, he wants the best for us. I mean, that benefits him too, but like, it's just such a nice thing. And having the conversation, we actually were able to learn that if we stay with him, like his prices will go way down for us as we grow. And had I not taken the time to have that conversation long term, I just assumed that they wouldn't get to the price point that would make it feasible to stay there. So I was so happy that we had that kind of open relationship, and I was able to really talk to him. It made a huge difference.
That's awesome. So many great tips there. I'm going to move us on to the next topic because I'm so excited about this. We're going to call this, Erin, X-rated breastfeeding moments. So
fun.
What we want to know is, I mean, I don't know about you, but I had to basically breastfeed in like the most awkward, uncomfortable places, working full time and trying to balance and juggle it all. So tell us your top 2 X-rated moments breastfeeding.
Oh my goodness. I have to think about this one. I think, so I lived in Jersey City, and I, with my first 2 babies, like I'm a scatterbrain. I can never remember anything. So I would never have a cover with me ever. Like, I had them, but I never remembered them. And at Jersey City, like on my maternity leave, I would like go out to lunch every day and have a glass of wine. But obviously, like, the baby would need to eat while I was at lunch, and I'd always sit at these like outside cafes, and I'd be on the street with no cover, but like a screaming child. What are you going to do like while you're eating lunch? So it was, I always fell into that trap of just like being there, or at a bar. I took my first baby to a lot of bars, and I would just nurse in the middle of a bar anywhere. So there's that.
I love it. Did you ever have like a nipple exposure happen like Janet Jackson?
I mean, I'm sure, right? My family all laughs about how they've all seen like my enormous breastfeeding boobs, and they all hate it. They all hate it because it's just like, it's everywhere, all over my house. And it's like, it's not that they care, but it's awkward. Like, it's your cousins and your brother. And my brother, like, he's seen more of my boobs from breastfeeding than he ever wanted to. And he like loves to remind me of that. So it's, totally scars him for life, I think.
Sure. I think that's happened to all of us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Until I had the nursing cardigan.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you, I bought that before our trip to Europe, if you remember.
Yep.
And I was like, seriously, I mean, in Europe, people really don't care. I mean, boobs are everywhere. But I have to say, on the airplane, like, that guy wanted to nurse the entire time. And if I didn't have that cardigan, the thing with the cardigan that's so freaking awesome, and I'm giving you a little,
I love you.
But the thing is that I had a problem with all the other cardigans. Like, you put them around your neck. What is that? And then
I know.
you're like ducking in and you're like trying to figure out how to do it. It's like crazy. And with that, it's like a simple little button. And then he's hidden. And it's like all good. And he could breathe through it. He was like, it's the first one where like if I put it over his face, he didn't have like a freaking meltdown. And I was like, this thing saved my life. So thumbs up with that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I really like thought about it when I was sitting outside at lunchtime, like feeding my baby, and I had on a cardigan, but it didn't have a button. And I was like, if only this thing had a button, I could just cover her right here with this.
So what advice would you give? I mean, it's such a good like point to be comfortable with yourself first. And that's not always easy because there's all this like staring eyes. And then there's, of course, the still really conservative. I mean, let's be honest, there's a real big conservative part of the nation that feels that you shouldn't be doing it in public. So what advice would you give to moms, Erin, that helps with this point?
I think you can only think about yourself and your baby. I was on a ferry once, feeding my third baby, and we were taking the ferry from New Jersey to Delaware. It's a commuter ferry, packed with people that day. I was in a seat that was kind of open, but I had my cardigan. My baby was totally covered. You couldn't even see her feet because she was little. Like, you literally didn't know that I was nursing a baby. And this older woman said to her daughter, they were taking up, first of all, a table for 6 people, and there was only 2 of them at it. So, like, I couldn't even sit, like, I was like, why don't you move? And like, let me sit there because it's more private. She was like, I can't believe that woman is nursing her baby right there in the open. And it made me so mad. I literally just wanted to like rip my boobs out and be like totally exposed. And I think that's actually what my husband told me I should do because he was also like so angered by it. You know what I mean? Like, but you can't think about it. Like, if you don't have a cover, big deal. Your baby needs to eat. You are the best source of nutrition for your baby. Like, if that's how your baby's fed is by you, like, and through breastfeeding, like, just focus on your baby. Don't look at anyone else if you don't want to, and just focus on feeding your baby. Just be confident. You are making a choice that's right for your baby and that's right for you as a mom. And you know what? Babies are hungry all the time. I don't know what to tell you. Like, some of my kids ate every half an hour.
Those stories amaze me. I can't believe they still happen. And
I know.
I don't know, Laura, were we talking about this in one of these interviews about like what would you do if someone came up to you and like criticized you for breastfeeding in public? And someone, or maybe it was someone else I was talking to, but like I never knew the right thing to do or say, but I wanted something good, right? Like, tear my shirt off and like give them a finger. I don't know. Like, I wanted something good to do that I never did because when it happened, I was so shocked that it was even happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting thing. Somebody once said to me, and I kind of liked it. I don't know how you ladies feel about it, but like, it's like we always talk about how if you want change, you have to start with yourself. Well, the person that's annoyed by it, they don't have to watch. They don't have to stand there. They don't even have to be in the vicinity. So it's their choice to be anger. They're responsible for their own emotions. So you could just simply say to them, there's lots of space around here. If it bothers you, then please go somewhere else.
Right.
I mean, that's just the reality. You can move. I'm busy here. If it's not you, see you later.
I love it, Laura. That's so perfect.
That is great.
Love it.
Okay, let's pick a card and end on a bonus question. I have no
fun.
idea what it's gonna be, but it's from the deck. What's your word? I don't know if you've heard of these bracelets, myintent.org. I really love them. They're like really cool sayings that you can keep with you, and you can make whatever saying you want. So pretend like you're picking a card.
Number 5. That one.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so, ooh, this one says, what moves you to tears or gives you goosebumps?
Oh, so I do I run a lot of races. I'm a big runner. And every time I run a race and you see the signs on people's back as to who they're running for, if it's a charity race, that always I will spend the entire race crying, in tears. That, I'm crying now just thinking about it. But that just it moves. It's very sad. So there's that.
Great. Well, Erin, thank you so much for taking time with us today.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Erin.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.